years of experience with the programs at their respective schools than Troy Calhoun does in his 18 years at Air Force. And this game will begin with a touchback. So Air Force will bring out John Boucher, junior from Port Charlotte, Florida. Last week against San Jose State, Air Force limited to just 7 points. And again, we'll talk about this as a brand new offense. And Troy Calhoun is very demonstrative in saying they just need reps, top to bottom. That includes at quarterback.
Yeah, certainly. And remember what happens in this triple option type offense. You know, the snap has to be good. That center QB exchange has to be good, but also the mesh with those running backs. So ball handling key, and that just takes time and reps.
Roman Bradley in the backfield with a quarterback, Boucher under center. And Boucher option run, and he'll take it to the 30-yard line, a little shy of a 5-yard gain to kick off the night for Air Force. As mentioned, just an incredible amount of turnover. Just 4 starters return in total. That's offense and defense. They've completely rebuilt their offensive line. We'll see Owen Allen, Roman Bradley get a lot of touches at fullback, and Cade Harris will get a bunch as well. Leads the Falcons with 3 rushing touchdowns.
And remember, you're not relying on the portal. The 3 service academies in Clemson, the only teams that won't be starting somebody from the transfer portal this season.
On second down, the call is given to Roman Bradley, and he burrows ahead for about 3, setting up a 3rd and manageable. The Baylor defense allowed 3 points in week 1 to Tarleton State, 23 points to Utah in week 2. But keep in mind, the second half of that game against Utah, and I know Cam Rising was out of the game by then, but they were suffocating that Utes offense by the end of the game.
Yeah, and remember, Dave Aranda is calling the defense this year, and you can tell he's just like a mad scientist. He just looks at it as a task to be mastered, digging into the details of what defensive assignments you need.
I'll bring Aiden Calvert from tailback to the side of the formation, and this is about a yard shy of the marker.
And you don't see a punting unit coming onto the field just yet. What are we going to see? You know, a lot of times with this option offense, it's 4th and 2 and less, and they're going to be going for it.
Air Force was 2 for 5 on 4th down last week in that loss to San Jose State. Picked to finish 4th in the Mountain West Conference this year, the Falcons. 4 for 8 on the season. Here they go on 4th and 1. And a timeout is called. Air Force coming into the day, they have won 5 straight games against power conference opposition. The last loss came in September of 2017 against number 7 Michigan at the time. Since then, they've beaten Colorado, Washington State, Louisville, Colorado again, and then Baylor 2 years ago in a game that was, let's just say, a little bit cooler, the conditions in Fort Worth than today.
Oh, my goodness. One of the colder games that either of these coaching staffs have been a part of. And you know, we talked about it a little bit with no players from the transfer portal. It's just a different kind of job. When you're coaching one of these service academies, it's really amazing what they're able to do with the players that they get. And we talk about the style of offense and the offensive line. We were talking about, well, you stay with the triple option offense because you just can't get those big offensive linemen, particularly the tackles, to run a conventional offense.
Can they convert this 4th down? Baylor trying to bring their heavy package. This is going to be close.
He's got it, according to the spot of the official there.
Boucher just able to get enough of a push at the end of it, and it's a 1st down for the Falcons.
And remember, this is a completely revamped offensive line, and a lot of times you'll see those guys in the 4-point stances. Here it's mostly 3-point stances, but gets a little bit of help from his friends with the push there.
So Air Force, you know how vaunted their rushing attack is, but not off to a great start this year. They finished 1st or 2nd in the nation each of the last 4 years. Nice fake by Boucher as he drew the pull and got the opening. And he'll set up a 2nd down and short here.
Boy, just a miscommunication. You could see it at the second level. The linebackers, you know what happens when you have that motion. They talked about these linebackers this week just their eyes have been in the wrong place time and time again. You could see before the snap on that one, the linebackers, one's pointing one way, the other's pointing the other way. They're standing right next to each other, clearly a miscommunication and an open lane for Boucher.
Boucher again. This time he's snuffed out in the backfield. Tackle made by Matt Jones, the sixth-year senior, coming off a career season last year, one of the top returning linebackers in the Big 12.
Yeah, and Jones, this is something Aranda said to us. You read through that quarterback, you start with that quarterback, and then get your eyes on that guard. He saw that one right away, sniffed it out, was able to trigger, get through the line of scrimmage clean to make the play.
They're down.
The thing about this offense, though, is you see something so many times throughout the course of the game, Jen, one little change, and they're gone for 40.
Boucher again, and he'll get the first down. Troy Calhoun was telling us they want to get his legs going a little bit more this week. They haven't been able to see that as part of his game just yet. Threw the ball a lot against San Jose State, 7 for 20, only 54 yards through the air.
Early going, of course, and we had one fourth down conversion, but it seems like this offensive line for Air Force, completely rebuilt, 5 new starters from a year ago, is winning that battle in the trenches.
I tend to agree with Troy Calhoun. You give this team more reps. I mean, that's how they've been able to do it for the last decade plus. There have been years where they start out and you question, okay, are they actually going to contend, but they build their game as the year goes along. Last year was actually probably an anomaly when you think about it, how experienced they were, and they fell off after starting 8-0, ranked in the top 25, and lost 4 in a row to fall out of contention for the Mountain West title.
Well, you're not going to out-discipline one of the service academies, right? But depth becomes an issue. They just don't have as many players. So later in the season, sometimes you get guys banged up and the performance tends to tail off.
Boucher tried to follow a lead blocker and stumbles ahead for a short gain, about 2 or 3. And it sets up a 3rd down and 5 here.
We've seen a lot of runs so far today, no passes yet, and with the philosophy to go for it on 4th and short, maybe you don't throw it here, but maybe you do get that play action opportunity here. Drive that first ball downfield past the sticks.
Pitch play. And some running room here for Cade Harris, who has a first down and scampers out after crossing the 40-yard line. So Air Force, a 10-yard gain, and their 10th play of the drive, controlling possession here.
And you watch number 28, Aiden Calvert. Watch the block that he throws on this one, but I love the patience on the cutback. And that's really just setting up your blocks, because you're making that defender think that you're going to want to go wide, want to go wide, want to go wide. And that gives your blocker in front of you an opportunity to just kick him out. You plant that foot in the ground and get upfield, get the first down.
4 different ball carriers for Air Force to begin. Boucher, dangerous pitch, connects with Aiden Calvert as he rounds the corner. There's a flag in the defensive backfield. Matt Jones looked like got tripped up there.
This one might be targeting. They said blindside block here that may also have a targeting element to it. I think we're going to get together and discuss this.
Mountain West officiating crew here today. Nolan Dumas is our referee. Illegal blindside block is the penalty.
So we're going to get a blindside block here. No, it wasn't the targeting, but you can almost tell 100% that somebody's done something wrong when they put their hands up in a situation like that.
You were talking before the game about how the new rules around shot blocks would be a factor potentially.
Well, not chop blocks, cut blocks.
A
slight distinction, but we'll get back to that here shortly.
Handoff, and Roman Bradley is wrapped up. Give him a gain of a half yard, but Jackie Marshall missed all of last season with an ACL. Makes the stop there. It's 2nd down and 24.
Yeah, Jackie Marshall talked about him missing last year. And it looks like he might have something with the hand or the wrist there, but gotten healthy, and you can see right there, reads the play well. And what they're really doing is they're controlling the A gaps, forcing the ball to bounce outside.
First pass play of the day, and it's complete at the 40-yard line to Brandon Engel.
They're going to want to get up and take a.
Yeah,
they're going to want to snap that one. I mean,
no, they are going to call it incomplete. Okay. They're going to move this back. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like a one hopper there. The ball comes out really low.
Wow.
I don't know. It looks like he controlled the ball, but his hand's on top of it. It's going to be a tight one. He's got one wrist on, he's got the wrist on the ball and the other hand on the ball, but they're not even going to take a look at it.
So it's 3rd down and 24 on the Air Force side of midfield. Boucher, 3-step drop, lob this ball to the sideline and batted down. Lorando Johnson, transfer from Arkansas, in coverage, but there is a flag here.
Well, that flag's going to be back towards the line of scrimmage, but
legal man downfield, it looks like. It's declined.
Lorando Johnson got the hands involved there a little bit late, but a nice job overall. And both of these cornerbacks, him and Jenkins had 2 pass interference calls a week ago against Utah. Both of these guys, Dave Aranda said they needed to be better earlier in routes to be in better position so they didn't get out of position and try and hold to get back in place. Played the ball there nicely.
Penalty winds it. Really hurting Air Force, and a block punt here. This could be trouble, but it'll be jumped on top of the Bears with a sudden change early in this game. They didn't have a single block punt all of last year. And they'll pick up possession with a short field.
Looks like number 47 gets the block. That's Caleb Parker. He's going to try and pick that thing up. He's going to try and go for the scoop and score, and that's Josh White. You can see him looking, just getting his hands to the outside of that one. Just fall on it, forget about it. That scoop and score is done, my man.
So here is Sawyer Robertson for the Falcons. And he's going to look for a score on the first play from scrimmage. Pass incomplete down the near sideline. The intended target was Ketron Jackson. Had a couple of explosive plays in week 1.
And Jamari Bellamy in coverage on that one. An excellent job. Nice tight coverage. Didn't interfere.
On 2nd down, handoff. And Baylor feels they'll get better as the season goes along in this department. Bryson Washington getting the call here, redshirt freshman. Sawyer Robertson, again, got some action in week 1. We talked about it. Filled in last year to the end of the season for the injured Blake Shapen. But between Washington and Dawson Pendergrass, they believe they've got a budding crop of young running backs. Tons of time for Robertson. Scrambling in the pocket, tripped up. He had running room, but just a shoestring getting pulled there. And Robertson's brought down. It's 4th down.
You know, it's interesting. Jake Spavital, he talked to us about the way that the footwork needs to match up with the timing of the routes. And you can see just a little bit erratic with his footwork is Sawyer Robertson on that one. Just didn't feel like he could pull the trigger. And sometimes that's just a comfort thing, especially when you find out late that you're going to be the starter.
So after Baylor getting the block punt, they'll have to settle for a field goal attempt. 46-yard attempt here for Isaiah Hankins, and it is good. Redshirt junior, who hit from 39 and a season-high 44 last week, puts Baylor on top, 3-0. FS1 College Football is sponsored by Hampton by Hilton. Hilton for the stay. Alex Faust, Robert Smith here with you in Waco. Great crowd on hand for these Baylor Bears who have struggled the last couple of years. Dave Aranda, the head coach, 3 losing seasons his first 4 years at the helm of Baylor. Remember, he was a former defensive coordinator at LSU and Wisconsin, but last year really struggled in that department. Porous run defense. And there is some optimism that with him taking over the play calling duties on that side of the ball, things will shape up there, and then they'll tend to the other side of the equation and try to get the ball moving a little bit more. A negative 1 yard drive after getting the block punt. And Air Force will once again start with a touchback here. And talking about defense, Baylor, remember they won the Big 12, and defense was a big part of that. You look at where they ranked, but it's tailed off since 2021. Early reports, though, early gains, pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. And the way that Dave Aranda described it, he said that he feels like he's a computer now. He says friends will call him to ask him how things are going in his life. He's like, I don't have time for any of that stuff. I'm a computer. I'm crunching numbers right now. And his defensive coordinator that doesn't call the plays, Matt Powledge, just talks about the memory that Aranda has and his attention to detail separating him as a coordinator.
Tackle for loss here as Boucher is brought down in the backfield. Physical play from Trevin Ma'ai, redshirt senior from Hawaii.
Yeah, Ma'ai, that's the guy that Dave Aranda said he's one of those foxhole guys, right?
Yep.
You know, that's the guy that you want in there with you, and clearly 6'5", 296. Difficult to get movement on him.
Sacks in back-to-back weeks to begin the season. Pitch play, and Aiden Calvert will tumble ahead for a gain of 6. It'll be a 3rd down and 5 here. I just find this remarkable about Dave Aranda. He is the only head coach at the FBS level, the only one handling defensive play calling duties.
Yeah, it's interesting. And, you know, we spoke about kind of the mechanics and what happens with calls when you're trying to make decisions on 3rd and 4th downs. We'll get into that discussion a little bit later.
Boucher nowhere to go. Thought he had an opening, and it was quickly closed up. And the Bears, we'll see if they force a 3 and out here. Yes, the Falcons will punt here. The tackle made by Kyler Jordan at outside linebacker, the redshirt sophomore.
Yeah, and it was the leakage that came from the up back on the last punt that allowed the punt to be blocked. We'll see how that protection works out this time.
So a 3 and out from the Falcon offense. And Luke Freer, who had a 72-yard punt in the first quarter of last week's game against San Jose State. Line drive kick fielded and fair caught at the 31-yard line.
Yep.
And the Bears will take over. Just 3 points so far between the two teams. Baylor with a 3-0 lead over Air Force. Pretty unbelievable stat. Air Force has won 5 straight games against power conference teams. We talked about the 2 wins against Colorado, Wazoo, Louisville, and Baylor in that bowl game in Fort Worth 2 years ago. On the other side of this equation, you've got this Baylor team that is looking to snap a dubious streak of their own. Good run play here on 1st down here. Baylor has lost 9 straight home games to FBS opposition. That is a terrible mark to be discussed along with Stanford and UMass, trying to get out of that rut and have a winning record at the end of non-conference play.
Yeah, they are. And Jake Spavital, the offensive coordinator, you can see going with a little bit of tempo here. Run on 1st and 2nd down, puts you in a manageable 3rd and 3 situation. Wants for him to get the ball up in the air here, or possibly the legs of Sawyer Robertson.
Washington, the last 2 carries. Robertson to pass here, has time, down the sideline, caught. Josh Cameron turning the corner, and he's into Air Force territory. 1st down for the Bears.
They're going to go into that cover 2 void. You can see that corner going to squat there. Break it off to the corner. Nice flat throw so the safety can't get over in time.
25 yards there, and another 10+ here. And once again, it's Cameron, who had his first career collegiate touchdown last week after 52 receptions and 30 career games.
Yeah, what a great story. And they were just so happy for him. He said he's one of those kind of guys you ask him to line up as an offensive lineman, and he would absolutely do it for you. Earned his stripes on special teams.
Blitz picked up. Robertson's pass caught along the sideline at the 10 to the 5 and short of the goal line. Baylor will have a 1st down and goal. Again, it's Cameron. 2 flags, however, come in at the end of the play.
Ineligible player downfield, number 1, offense, 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
Michael Trigg, the tight end.
Boy, somebody must have had him ineligible by the way that they lined up. Michael Trigg, the tight end, so he might have been covered up on the outside. Something made him ineligible on that play. And, of course, being the consummate expert and pro that you are, you notice that Bryson Washington had the great pickup from the running back position on that one to stop the blitz. Shame they wasted that play.
So the penalty sets him back. Woo! Nice run. Oh, fumble! Air Force has it! And Baylor with a miscue after driving down the field with tempo. They cough up the football, and it's Air Force ball.
Oh, I think it's Grant Ewell, the linebacker, that's going to pull this ball away from Air Force. Baylor, nice drive stalled by the turnover. The Falcons will have it when we get back. Well, welcome back to Waco. We're going to show you how Baylor turned the ball over on that last play. You're going to see Grant Ewell lined up at that linebacker spot. Dawson Pendergrass can say, okay, man, I'm going to run you over. And Ewell, as the analogy goes, he's the captain going down with his ship right here. He says, while I'm going down, I'm going to go ahead and snag that ball and give it to our offense.
On the reverse, Cade Harris rounds the corner, has running room. Out across midfield, a big chunk play for Cade Harris, who led the Falcons with a career-high 50 yards and a rushing touchdown last week.
Well, and these plays only go if you get that good blocking on the outside, but here it's that counter-type action, and everybody wants to be so aggressive getting to the front side, and those safeties, as you can see, out of position. Nice pickup for this Falcon offense, and that's what happens. Just 3-3-3, 40.
It's the longest play of the season for Air Force. Now, you think back to week 1 for Baylor against Utah. They had some miscues in the first half last week that made things a lot worse. A blocked field goal that led to a touchdown. Remember, they had that drive all the way starting at their own 3-yard line. Fumbled the ball. They were marching downfield, Robert. All of a sudden, they cough it up, and here come the Falcons.
Yeah, and it's that attention to detail. You know, as coaches, it's the kind of thing that it drives you crazy. You can coach them up on it, but the players have to go out and execute.
Allen gets the call, tripped up. Might have been his own man. Tough to tell there as Bruin Fleischman was being tied up with Kendrick Simpkins. Loss of 2, and it's 3rd down.
You've got a keen eye, my man. Not that I'm surprised, but Bruin Fleischman, I think you're absolutely right. As he was blocking, he kind of pancaked his guy, and his legs go flailing in the air and tripped up his own guy. You're stealing all of my thunder.
It's 3rd down and 8. Final minute of the quarter. There's Boucher. Shades sheds a second one. What a move from Boucher. First to shed the initial tackle, then the spin move, and he scampers out for a 1st down.
But if you're Lorando Johnson, you just cannot miss this type of tackle. He doesn't break down. Look at how high he stays on that one on the attempt to go in at Boucher. Poor form tackling. You just can't assume with a quarterback like that. In this type of offense, a guy that's used to running the football and evading defenders, you got to be much more disciplined going in for that hit.
Tell you what, Boucher's a remarkable story too. Dive into that as we go along. Boucher again elusive, but he's going to lose yardage here. Air Force was the only program that offered him a roster spot out of high school. He admitted he blindly took the offer, had no idea what a career in the academy was going to look like, but it was the only thing on the table, and he has made the most of it. Now the starting quarterback taking over for Zach Larrier for the Falcons. It'll be a 2nd down and 13 when we come back to Waco. A quarter in the books, and Baylor the 3-0 lead after the block punt. Friday night on Fox, Dylan Raiola, Nebraska, taking on an Illinois team that we saw recently that looked pretty good. Be a pretty fun Big Ten clash in prime time. Friday night, 8 Eastern on Fox.
And Nebraska did a number on Colorado a week ago, and of course we saw Illinois upset Kansas at Illinois, and that was first sellout since 2016. And programs moving in the right direction. Both of those programs kind of gone through a lull, looking pretty good right now.
Will's done a wonderful job in Nebraska. So Air Force on a 2nd down and 13 here, and another big chunk. Cade Harris gets back. I want to say all the yards that they lost. He's right at the stick here. 13.
It's interesting to me. I had an opportunity to coach a triple option team, and you have variations of triple option. People just try and make it seem like it's so simple. Hey, one guy has a dive and one guy has a quarterback, one guy has a pitch. Well, on a conventional run, all 11 guys have the same guy, right? They're supposed to go after the same guy. You forget the player that you may have assigned specifically to tackle a certain part of that option, that guy may be blocked, or they might go with a toss right there. Tough offense to stop.
Pick up 4 yards here on 1st down. Roman Bradley getting the carry. Cade Harris now up to 47 yards after 50 last week.
And of course, this is pretty much like 1st down, right? You know that they're going to be going for it. Even if they don't get it here and don't get it on 3rd down, they're going to be going on 4th down. You still got a couple shots at it. Movement in the slot, though.
False start.
It's our man Fleischman.
Number 88, offense.
Tripping.
5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Tripping guys up, jumping offside. Come on, Fleischman. And you see just that little twitch. Oh, gets that movement. I love it when you get the guys pointing it out to Lorando Johnson lined up in the slot there and pointing them out just in case the officials didn't happen to catch it.
Second accepted penalty for Air Force. Harris bounced off his own man. Wound up getting driven down by Matt Jones, who's had a nice start to this game defensively. And it's 3rd down.
Yeah, Matt Jones, that green dot on this defense. Talked about him being a seasoned vet, how smart he is, eyes always in the right place. And we really haven't seen a lot of the true triple option here in the conventional sense, where you've got an A-back coming around, you fake the dive, and the quarterback keeps it. We've seen a lot of toss getting to the edges. We'll see if they put the ball up in the air here.
Yeah, most of it's been scripted. Boucher to pass, near side, incomplete. Fleischman the intended target, just a bit off target from Boucher, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, and Boucher, you talk about the importance of reps, and you just don't do it a lot in practice, right? So Bruin Fleischman comes out of his break, and that ball just a little bit too far on the outside for John Boucher.
It's going to be a 45-yard field goal attempt. And Matthew DePore, 0 for 1 on the season. This line drive kick is no good. Knuckler off the side of his foot, and it's still 3-0. Dave Aranda now in his 5th season at Baylor. 24-26 overall record. Remember 2021, that incredible season. Led Baylor to the best year in program history. 12-2, won the Sugar Bowl. Finished 5th in the nation, but 3-9 last season.
And remember, in that 2021 season, it was Matt Rule who had left to take the job with the New York Giants that had really built that roster up.
And he admitted, Aranda, that he was behind the curve recruiting-wise and with NIL, and has had to play catch-up a little bit with building out this Baylor roster. And he hoped at the end of last year, retain guys. That was the main thing, and build from there. On 2nd down, play action. Robertson hits his target. And this could go for big yardage. Ashton Hawkins into Air Force territory. And a chunk play for Baylor to get to the plus territory, 35 yards.
You're going to see him coming out of the slot here. What did Jake Spavital say about Baldwin and Hawkins? Speed. But watch the move. Move him to the inside, cut it to the outside, turn on the jets, get a little block on the outside from Josh Cameron. Turned into a big gain.
Quick restart. And it's Hawkins again. Tackled at the 30-yard line after a gain of 5. Hawkins, 3 seasons at Texas State, transferring into Baylor this year. He left as the all-time program leader, Texas State history in catches and receiving yards. Second down. Robertson to pass again, skips this one incomplete, intended for Josh Cameron.
Late pressure there that disrupted the footwork of Sawyer Robinson, and probably number one contributing factor to inaccurate throws is inconsistent footwork. Sometimes you just don't have a choice, right? It's great calling it from up here, but sometimes get that pressure and just don't get everything into a throw.
Richard Reese getting his first call of the night, and this will be about a yard short of the marker. Reese, who put up more than 1,000 all-purpose yards his true freshman season a couple years ago, but they haven't been able to get him going since. 4th down and 1. They'll go quickly. Reese again tripped up, and this will be close, marked short. And the Falcons look like they have the stop.
And that's Grant Ewell, the captain on the defense. We saw him get the fumble, the forced fumble earlier in the game, and he comes off of the edge here. Josh Cameron doesn't close down and block him, and he's able to slice right in and get the tackle. The 4th down stop. Falcons are going to get the ball when we come back.
FS1 College Football is sponsored by Hampton by Hilton. Hilton for the stay. Look at the Waco Suspension Bridge just up the road from campus here. Alex Faust, Robert Smith here with you. The Baylor offense turns it over on downs. Looked like they had an opportunity to convert, but could not. And the Falcons, who have controlled clock, controlled possession, but don't have a point to show for it. Boucher takes off on 1st down. Matthew DePore just hooking that field goal attempt to keep it 3-0 Baylor. So this will be 2nd down and 7 here.
Steve Linton almost able to chase that one down from the backside, and this Baylor offense has really got to get things in gear. That you had the fumble on the series before, and then at last time you try to go tempo on 4th down, but you had your own guys not ready to block the right players.
Nice crease created for Cade Harris, and it'll set up a 3rd down and short. Gain of 5, and the Falcons already 3 for 7 on 3rd down tonight.
Yeah, and this is the last thing that you want to do with a team like Air Force is give them extra possessions because of the way that they run the football, the way that they chew up clock. You cannot afford to waste possessions.
This is going to be the 28th play of the night for the Air Force offense. They have yet to get any yards in their passing game. 1st down. Tell you what, I don't know how much we were expecting out of the passing game from Air Force. They are a run-first team. That's always been their identity. They only mustered 197 yards of total offense last week against San Jose State. They're already up over 100 here tonight.
Yeah, and again, we talked about this earlier. With all of the new starters, these guys just needed the reps, and nothing like live game reps.
Boucher to pass on 1st down. Floats one. Back shoulder incomplete. Intended for Harris. 2nd down.
Well, and that's one of those things. You talk about the reps that you don't get. You just don't get a lot of those reps with wide receiver and quarterback working on those routes. Looked like that ball just got placed onto the wrong side, and Cade Harris started looking over the inside, but the ball was to the outside.
It is worth repeating. 40, yes, 40 seniors departed the program, and part of it was because of COVID. Many players took the turn-back option from the academy during the COVID year, and that kind of stacked up the upperclassmen on the team. So at some point they were going to have to face the music. That's a big hit delivered to Aiden Calvert. Tell you what, Matt Jones, he's made his presence known from the get-go here tonight. Third down.
Well, this is your traditional triple option play, and as soon as that pitch happens, those defenders coming from the inside, you mentioned it, Matt Jones along with Devin Bobby, exactly where they needed to be in the alley, which is so important to get that fill in the alley once the pitch happens on a triple option.
Boucher drops back to pass. Pocket collapsing. Flushed out to his right. Boucher pumps. Throws underneath. Caught for the first down. Aiden Calvert comes to the rescue, but there is a flag on the play.
It looks like Bruin Fleischman was involved with this one, but it looked like he got interfered with. It's a defensive hold.
Pass, holding, number 21, defense. That penalty is declined. Results of the play. First down.
That's Chateau Reed, 6'2", 196 pounds, against 6'5", 235-pound Bruin Fleischman on the left side of your screen. Just as Fleischman, I don't know about that. Looks like they just got their feet tangled up there. And it was tough. It was a little bit off of frame there. He doesn't seem to be protesting a whole lot, though. Usually, when they know that they did it, they don't complain as much.
Penalties have been a bit of an issue for Baylor. 6 penalties for 67 yards in week 1, 5 for 37 in week 2. Puts Air Force to midfield. Boucher design run, and he's knocked down after a gain of 2. Guess who? It's Matt Jones.
Yeah, Matt Jones, exactly where he needed to be. But again, this is something that we talked to Dave Aranda about as a coordinator, and really trying to get defensive players to be in the right place at the beginning of the plays, which is so important when you're playing in the secondary, because if you get a little bit out of position early in the route stem, when you try and catch up later, you tend to hold, grab these guys to try and slingshot yourself back into position. That's what happened with Chateau Reed a couple plays ago.
Give him another 3 yards here on second down. He'll set up a third and a short 5. Bradley again.
Yeah, and of course this is 4 down territory, as it is almost anywhere on the field. So you just go in with a completely different mindset with your play call. Now obviously they're not throwing the ball a whole lot, and with their tendency to go for it on 4th down, you may think this is automatic run if you're the Baylor defense, which is that cat and mouse game where you might want to try and throw it.
Whoa, that looked a little bit dicey there, and Calvert gets driven down. Caleb Parker there for the tackle, and it's 4th down.
Boy, just following it all the way from the inside, and maybe if this pitch isn't so high and he doesn't have to wait on the ball, he's able to get upfield a little bit sooner. But you could see Parker catches him right as he's in the air on this one.
They're going to go for it. On 4th and 2, already Air Force 1 for 1 tonight. They might be given that timeout back from the earlier sequence in the game. Pitch play, and it's a first down and more. Cade Harris. Big yardage, and Air Force is marching into Baylor territory.
Boy, and you try throughout the course of the week to get the live look in practice that you're going to see at game speed, but that is the problem. That is the problem facing a triple option offense. And they told us they had a triple option period all the way back going to the spring, and they had Brayson McHenry, one of their backup quarterbacks, trying to give a scout look. But when you see it live in game day, it's usually the only time you see it all year long at this kind of speed.
Gain of 16. That is the 4th run of 10 or more yards for Air Force here tonight, and they continue to control clock. I'm just taking a glance down at time of possession. 14 minutes already for Air Force. Baylor doesn't even have 5 yet.
And think about what that does to you as a defense. I mean, your eyes are here, your eyes are there, and you're just getting tired, and you're getting ear holds, you're getting cut if you're between the tackles. We'll talk a little bit about how that rule has changed with the cut blocks outside of the tackle box.
Play action, Boucher rolls to his right. He's going to tuck and run, and he has an opening, but he'll scamper out shy of the marker. Out at the 19-yard line, and it's 3rd down. Give him one more to the 18.
And that was big Trevin Maai chasing him down on that one too, man. That's a lot of big man to be running. And you know, they talk about what you want to do as a coordinator sometimes. You know, you want to force the little guys to tackle and you want the big guys to run. You can see hands on hips right here. You got the time of possession combined with those guys chasing things down end to end. It's no wonder these triple option offenses pop one eventually.
And it's another first down here. Air Force just methodically working their way down the field. First touch of the night for Kemper Hodges. Fullback that falls a little bit further down the depth chart. Sophomore. They're without Dylan Carson and Terrence Gist. A couple of fullbacks who are banged up. They thought they might get Gist back this week.
I mean, you lose all of those seniors. You have one starter back on offense, and we talked about the difficulty of getting players in, but they just find a way.
Again, it's Hodges. As they give either Allen or Bradley or both a bit of a breather here as they approach the Baylor 10-yard line.
Yeah, it's funny, you know, as football players, we think about the days, you know, it's a little bit different now, but you go back to the 3-a-days and all those sorts of things, and we talk about the discipline and the focus that it takes. But, you know, the military guys look at that and they're like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, that's child's play.
You know, we got a little different way of doing things in the military. Talk about being methodical.
This is Bradley. And again, it'll set up a third down and short. That was the 14th play of the drive. 14 plays, 64 yards, 7+ minutes, now approaching 8 minutes on this drive.
We talked about the temperature here tonight as well. Not a cool night. This is the kind of thing you got to make sure that you stay hydrated.
Yep.
And again, it's about that focus, because just one little slight change, all of a sudden they come back with some sort of counter going the other way and walk into the end zone.
Boucher handoff to Hodges, bottled up in the backfield. And this sets up an interesting decision. 4th down. And Matthew DePore is 0 for 2 on the season. Badly hooked the last one. The field goal unit will come on.
Yeah, and he had a bad pull on a kick a week ago that he actually made. That's kind of his miss. And you just wonder when somebody snaps one back one way like that, sometimes you get in the kicker's head and then they push that next one.
26-yard attempt. Missed from 45 earlier. And this one is good. And the Falcons, with a methodical clock-eating drive, have tied the game.
Coming up on the State Farm halftime, 9th-ranked Oregon gets back on track against Oregon State. Alabama with a statement road win at Wisconsin. And LSU South Carolina SEC thriller came down to a last-second kick. Alex and Robert, let's kick it back to you. My hands.
Ooh. Don't hurt yourself, Mike.
You saw him grab that
You got a show
right?
to do in a couple minutes, man. How about Dave Aranda firing up his team on the sideline?
And when you have a coach, I was up in Minnesota with the Vikings when Tony Dungy was the defensive coordinator. Finish this thought here. You know, he's one of those quiet kind of guys. I know that he talks a lot to Dave Aranda, and you're used to seeing a guy be pretty quiet. When he gets fired up, you better believe that everybody pays attention. But it's all about execution. It's not just about, hey, rah-rah, because he felt they got up too much a week ago on the road against Utah. You got to go out and execute.
That's a really good point, because he's a soft-spoken guy, really soft-spoken guy. But he felt the emotional intensity was just a notch too high in a game that required just a bit more attention to detail last week against Utah. Certainly attention to detail required here tonight. In a 3-3 game, Robertson to pass, crossing pattern, it's Cameron. And a first down for Baylor. As we approach the 2-minute timeout, both teams have their full complement of timeouts.
Yeah, and you can tell Jake Spavital, he's just trying to figure out what this team is. He's not sure what they have. Obviously, a new quarterback today. They go empty on that last play for the first time today.
Gain of 13. They'll get this play off before the timeout. And it's Cameron again, driven down to the 40-yard line for a gain of 2.5. 2-minute timeout here in Waco. Low-scoring game. Air Force and Baylor. threes on the board. All right, a minute 54 to go in the first half. Both teams still with all 3 timeouts. Air Force driving down the field, but only getting 3 out of that lengthy possession. And now we'll see if Baylor can continue to move the ball. Again, if you're just joining us, Daquan Finn scratched from the game. He's in a sling on the sideline, and there's another completion for Robertson as he connects with Michael Trigg, the tight end, for the first time into Air Force territory for another first down.
Boy, a nice accurate throw with anticipation. Great rhythm on that. A nice job by Michael Trigg. You don't always see that with tight ends capable of catching the ball when it's in the air before they turn.
Here's Trigg again, the Ole Miss transfer. Picks up 4 or 5. And the Bears certainly capable of playing up tempo here in their 2-minute offense. Bryson Washington in the backfield. All of a sudden, Sawyer Robertson showing off his arm. 8 of 10. Robertson under pressure, dumps it off. How about that? Washington across the 25 and driven down at the 20-yard line. Ball came out late. It's Air Force ball.
No way.
Washington coughed at the football. And Jerome Gaylor, the senior from Kempner, Texas, picks it up.
Play's not over until it's over, and clearly these Air Force Falcons know that extremely well. Now you can see Sawyer Robertson there pointing towards the ground, hoping he was down before that ball came loose. I'm going to take another look at this. See, Washington starts to go down there. Remember, anything but a hand or a foot down, and I think that right forearm is what you're going to watch for first. But Gaylor, it looked like, knocked that ball out before that forearm touched. You have to see that one slowed down. And watch the right forearm here. Oh, actually, he may be down. I don't think that ball's loose yet. Oh, that's popping.
Yeah,
that's after. It's already out. So it's already out before that elbow gets down. Doesn't look like anything else. That's gonna stand or be confirmed.
And another costly turnover for Baylor. Their second of the night.
And it's a thing, again, it drives you crazy as a coach. You know, you can't pick those plays that are going to turn the momentum in a game and be the difference in a game, or where one little turnover like that. But that's a couple of times we've seen turnovers, and then they turned over the ball with the 4th down conversion that they weren't able to make. It's that attention to detail that can be all the difference in a game.
So now a minute 33, Air Force ball, all 3 timeouts for them. Delayed run here for Boucher and the option, and a flag comes in.
Well, that's towards the core of the line of scrimmage. You know, that may be a hold on one of the Falcon offensive players. We'll see.
Personal foul, illegal block below the waist, number 65, offense. That penalty enforced half the distance to the goal from the end of the run. Replay first down.
Now, we talked about the rule change in college football. The way that it was that you can have those low blocks below the waist outside of the tackle box, but it's got to be immediate. It's got to be somebody stationary at the line of scrimmage that makes that block. This one may have been a little bit downfield. Don't have the replay on it, but that's the difference in college football starting in 2022.
So it'll be first down and 20 from the 14-yard line, and they'll get some of that penalty yardage back here, and the clock will move. Stopping with a minute 17. Timeout is called. Gain of 8 on the ground.
Yeah, not the ideal situation if you have this type of offense.
Baylor calls timeout. We'll step aside. All right, next week, another big day of football on Fox. Big noon Saturday, third-ranked Ohio State. They're looking to prove they can be the best team in the country. They take on Marshall. Then this is going to be a really fun matchup. Utah, Oklahoma State, a battle in the Big 12. And then in prime time, these Baylor Bears will take on Colorado. It all starts 10 a.m. with Big Noon Saturday.
See my man Ollie Gordon run the football.
Back for another year of damage with the Oklahoma State Cowboys. All right, 2nd and 11. Boucher bottled up and brought down. Jones was there again, along with Keaton Thomas and Jackie Marshall.
Well, this defense rising up right here, and Boucher is going to turn this one back into a headache. Just all types of free defenders. Everybody breaking free at the worst time for old John Boucher.
Second timeout called by Baylor. They can get another stop here. They'll get the ball back with about 40 seconds or less. So in a 3-3 game, both teams have shown the ability to move the ball but not finish drives.
Well, Baylor's got that extra. They've got another timeout, so they could stop the clock. I mean, they could, depending on the amount of time on this play, they could have well over a minute here.
Yeah,
which is a question.
Right.
But first things first, right? I mean, we've seen them not finish on some plays. That's cost some turnovers and turnover on downs. Got to make sure that you get the Falcons off of the field here on 3rd down.
Cameron Breyer checks in as a wideout, and this play will not net very much. So Baylor will call their final timeout. As you mentioned, they'll get the ball back here about a minute to go. Twice it seemed like Baylor was going to be knocking on the door, and despite only 5:28 of possession, they were set up really well their last drive, only to commit their second turnover of the game.
Well, but you got to stay positive, right? If you're Jake Spavital on the sideline, you're like, hey guys, I know we haven't finished these drives. Got another opportunity here, right? What's the most important play in football? It's always the next play.
Yep.
And you could say, we have been moving the football. We haven't had the football a whole lot. Air Force has done a nice job possessing the football once they've gotten it. We just have to go out and finish these drives. Pay attention to detail. Make sure that you protect the football. Let's go get it done.
So the Falcons to punt, and Luke Freer, his second tonight. End over end punt, takes an Air Force bounce, another Air Force bounce, and across the 30 it'll roll all the way down to the 25-yard line and leave 53 seconds for Baylor.
And how many times do you have a game where both teams had punts over 70 yards the previous week?
Yeah. No, we haven't seen Baylor's punter. He might be the best in the country.
Well, he's number 1 in average in the country, almost 60 yards a punt. He had 2 at least over 72 a week ago. I think he had a 76 and a 79-yarder.
You would think if you weren't watching this whole half that in a 3-3 game you would have seen him 3 or 4 times already. Air Force chewing up clock, 23+ minutes time of possession, and yet only 3 points to show for it. Baylor's offense back to work here. Robertson's pass deflected and incomplete. Wound up behind Monterey Baldwin.
Remember, with this Air Force defense, Grant Ewell has had some great plays today. The forced fumble in the game and big-time stop on 4th down. He's not on the field right now. It looked like he went to the tent, and we have not seen him return.
Keep in mind, Baylor will have the ball to begin the second half. Robertson pumps, throws down the middle, incomplete. Too tall for Michael Trigg.
Oh, and he had to double pump on that one. Sawyer Robertson looked like he was throwing darts there. That double clutch, he held on to the ball, and that second time just not able to get it down. Talk about the mechanics and being decisive and throw with anticipation, but you've got to have those feet set properly. A lot of times those feet don't get set and the ball will sail.
Bunch set to the right. Robertson pumps, throws again. This time he hits Trigg across the 45, and he fumbled the football. It's a nightmare repeating itself for Baylor. Air Force ball once again. Can you believe it?
Kyle Chen is going to come in. You're going to see him lined up in the slot, and Trigg does a nice job just kind of bullying him. But look, he falls down, gets back up, and he comes back in. He's the second guy in there. That second guy in a lot of times can come with that punch. That's teaching. But for this Baylor offense, how many times do you need to see the ball get knocked onto the ground and not protect it yourself? It's got to be infuriating for that staff.
Third turnover, all fumbles. And the Air Force Falcons and their defense. 3 fumbles recovered coming in. They have another 3 here tonight. And now a +5 turnover margin on the season. And now Air Force with all 3 timeouts. Shot play for Boucher. Down the sideline. Incomplete, intended for Brandon Engel. Tight coverage provided by Devin Lemire, the free safety.
Boy, it looked like some contact on that one. You see, watch the hand, watch the right hand come. Well, no, he did the right thing. That was really good defense right there.
Boucher is yet to complete a pass, 0 for 5. Mentioned him just 7 for 20 last week against San Jose State. He threw 2 picks in that game. 26 seconds, still all 3 timeouts. Shovel it to the outside, and Cade Harris is shoved out of bounds to stop the clock with 20 seconds to go after a gain of 3.
Well, you can just tell these Baylor players, they're just gassed.
Yeah.
They're just gassed. They spent a lot of time on the field in this first half. Need that extra recovery at halftime.
And it's one hot night here in Waco. It's certainly taken its toll. They're down at 7. Boucher wrapped up, and that ball came loose. There's the shoe on the other foot here. Baylor football. What a sloppy night when it comes to ball security, and the Bears take it back.
Yeah, watch big Jackie Marshall, number 0 right there. He kind of gets that hand, rakes it across. Boucher pops that thing out, and the Bears fall on it.
You're going to have to run down there at halftime and start teaching some of these kids.
A clinic.
A little clinic down there.
Come on, man, those points of pressure. You got to keep that ball tight against your side. I see that so much in football. People talk about, keeping it tight against the forearm, keeping it tight in your hand, and you got to keep it tight against your bicep. But you have got to keep that thing tight against your side as well, especially in traffic, because if it's away from the frame of your body, it's just, once that thing gets popped, if somebody punches it, it's almost impossible to keep in there. Got to use that body as a brace.
Looks like Baylor's going to run a few plays here. Robertson dumps it off short to Pendergrass. Pendergrass with a surge across midfield. They're going to have a shot here with 5 seconds. Take a look at the end zone.
Now you're going to try and go for the field goal.
Yeah, or go for a long field goal, yeah. Gain of 22 for Pendergrass.
Kicked a 44-yarder against Utah a week ago.
Yeah, this is going to be from 51. And timeout is called by Air Force. Isaiah Hankins' career long is 54.
Take a look at this last play. You see Robertson said, hey, Dawson, go ahead and take this thing for me.
Yeah.
you got better running ability, and I'd much rather you get this thing out of bounds. Smart play right there.
He's also a really versatile player. Used virtually any type of play that they run. He emerged as the top rushing threat through the first 2 weeks, but he's plenty capable as a receiver in the backfield as well. So this will be a 51-yard attempt for Isaiah Hankins, redshirt junior from Little Rock, Arkansas, to give Baylor a 6-3 lead.
The lefty. Love it. Both of my kids are lefties. I love seeing lefties every now and then. You don't see it much from the kickers.
Let's see how he does here. From 51, this kick is good. He drilled it. And as time expires in the first half, the Baylor Bears give Air Force a taste of their own medicine. They force a late turnover. They turn it into points, and it's 6-3.
And they get the ball after the break. Baylor Bears with the lead. And they're going to get that ball when we come back.
To begin the second half here in Waco, Alex Faust and Robert Smith here with you. McLean Stadium on a warm and toasty Texas night. This is probably normal for you, though.
Texas toast, yummy.
We had some of that today.
Yeah, I live about an hour and a half away from here, up in Arlington, and you know we're used to this hot weather, so not too bad as it cools down at night here.
This will go for a touchback. And so Sawyer Robertson kind of under the radar in all of this. You know, he's had a pretty good night himself. 11 for 15, 179 yards through the air. No mistakes.
And they really haven't gotten much production out of the running game tonight. And they thought having Bryson Washington back into the fold, he had been out with some injuries. They thought having him back that they were going to get that cranked up. But that defensive line for Air Force done a pretty good job.
Robertson,
dangerous
screen pass, and Reese. That was dangerous, wasn't it?
Yeah, David Santiago almost got his hands on that one. Able to get just enough on it, but no gain.
Yeah, and an injury here for the Falcons.
And
this is Jamari Bellamy.
Oh, sorry, buddy.
Yep.
Yeah, and I hope it's just cramps. It looks like he's kind of stretching his legs out like it's cramps, and wouldn't be surprised even after halftime getting some hydration. The guys could cramp up.
You mentioned the injury to Grant Ewell, Falcons' leading tackler. He has not returned, and now Bellamy being tended to. Team leading 6 tackles and a pass breakup in Air Force's bowl win over JMU last year. One of their few experienced players in the secondary. Played all 28 games since the start of 2022, including 19 starts. And he's going to gingerly walk this off. Long way over to the other side of the field, the Air Force sideline.
And of course, they've had some injuries on the offensive side of the ball as well. And we've talked about it a number of times. 40 seniors gone from the team a year ago. 1 starter back on offense, 3 starters back only on the defensive side of the ball. Now they're banged up. But you know what? With Troy Calhoun and Air Force, I mean, it's just different, man. It's bigger than coaching a sport, as he said, and it's a different kind of level of commitment that you have when you sign up to play for Air Force, and that next man mentality takes on a whole new meaning when you're talking about the Air Force Falcons.
2nd down and 11 after a loss of 1. Robertson facing the blitz, connects at the 40-yard line with Hawkins. And he scampers out of bounds after a 1st down.
And Jake Spavital talked about the importance of footwork, and what I loved about that throw, Sawyer Robertson in rhythm hits his receiver right as he comes out of the break.
Gain of 18 for Hawkins. Run play here in Richard Reese. Just 15 yards on 9 carries last week against Utah. They're looking Robert, to get them to create a little bit more. Instead of just having the offensive line clear the way, they want him to be a little bit more creative.
Hey, BYOB sometimes, be your own blocker.
Reese again. Reese bounces to the outside and picks up the first down. Actually, he's going to be a yard short here. Just about a half yard short.
Yeah, and it was funny, and I'm very familiar with this routine as well. Jake Spavital said, having Bryson Washington back into the fold does increase the level of competition. Look, it's friendly competition. RBs, man, we love each other, but, everybody wants to get a little taste of it and get that ball when they can. So everybody plays a little bit better when you get more guys in the room.
Washington, the starter this week, gets the call here. This could be trouble. Across the 30, cuts it back. Washington slips by a tackle inside the 15 and a flag at the end of the play. Big run for Bryson Washington deep in Air Force territory.
I didn't get a look at it. Sometimes you get face mask at the end of those runs.
Holding, number 34.
Oh, no.
Wow.
10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down and 10.
You got an open mic there, buddy, Josh. You may want to hang off on that.
It's Cable, and I was going to talk about what a good job Josh Cameron was doing blocking downfield. And he gets in front here, and he gets those arms outside of the frame, and it looks like he grabs a face mask of a defender on that one.
Actually, probably got away with one if it's hold and not a face mask.
Hey, but at least it's downfield, and
Right.
much of the yardage counts.
It's over.
Tumbling ahead, it's Washington again. Nice run on first down to pick up 6 after what could have been a 39-yarder, brought back a bit after the penalty. Second down and 4. Washington again. Washington slips by a tackle, cuts it back and dives to the goal line. Touchdown, Baylor. 19 yards for Bryson Washington, his first career touchdown.
All kinds of excitement for this Baylor Bear fan base, and you can see why they're so excited about Bryson Washington. Flat backs in the hole. Watch the little lateral jump cut to the side. Anticipates where the safety is going to come, cuts it back, and then able to get that ball just over the goal line, physical at the end. He really combined all of the elements of a great run.
He preserved his red shirt last year, letting him kind of build his body a bit. Had a setback with an injury in the preseason, but you see why they are excited about this young man in Waco. The Bears up by 10. FS1 College Football is sponsored by Hampton by Hilton. Hilton for the stay. Plains Stadium. Scoring drive, 7 plays, 75 yards. And for Bryson Washington, the redshirt freshman, his first career touchdown. Boy, kickoff duty, we haven't seen any of this today for the Bears, pretty much after a score with Jack Stone. And now Air Force will take over. Both teams, it's interesting, Rob, both teams have been able to move the ball in different ways. And Baylor now throws that first punch, being able to complete a drive.
Yeah, we'll see if the Falcons can match it, right? And we talked about with Troy Calhoun. He said that this team just desperately needed reps.
Yep.
And I think there's no substitute for live game reps. It's just experience. And 5 new starters along the offensive line, all kinds of new ball carriers. Looks like a little bit of confusion here, even slightly different backfield set than we normally see.
Boucher to run, goes nowhere.
Yeah, go with the traditional speed option. Option football, it's interesting. And we talked earlier about how people say, well, it's easy to defend. You got one guy for this guy, one guy for that guy. You gain numbers at the point of attack by leaving guys unblocked. And you have defenders with more responsibilities than they can handle.
Gave him a half yard on the first play. Again, Boucher stymied. Steve Linton, 6th-year senior, transfer from Texas Tech. And quickly, Air Force in a 3rd down and long. How much did the halftime break help this Baylor defense, perhaps?
Yeah, well, we've seen Steve Linton run that play down, that front side action a couple of times, and you wonder if Troy Calhoun and his staff, Mike Thiessen, the offensive coordinator, will pick up on that and try and go a little counter action.
Boucher to pass, is yet to complete one. He'll take off, and he's brought down. Linton again. Boucher was scanning downfield for a target that never developed, and it's a 3-and-out for the Falcons.
Boy, credit to the strength conditioning coach. You can see big Steve Linton on the outside here working against Samuel Floysan. And for all of that time of possession in that first half, 24 minutes of possession in that first half from Air Force, Steve Linton looks like he's all kinds of fresh. So he's obviously been doing well with the conditioning, got plenty of fluids at halftime.
Luke Freer to punt. Fair caught at the 36-yard line by Josh Cameron. A 40-yard punt with no return, and the Bears will take over up by double digits.
Tomorrow, week 2 of the NFL kicks off on Fox as Derek Carr leads the Saints against Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, or the Rams battle Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. Check for the game in your area, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
You're going to go hang out with Tommy Boy tomorrow?
I will not go hang out with Tommy Boy tomorrow. I still haven't met Tom. I saw him at the preseason meeting.
Well, that was your miss, not shaking hands with him. You had a chance.
He might be bitter because we were in the league at the same time in 2000, and we were in the same stadium, and our team won. I'm not saying necessarily that he's jealous or anything.
So you're saying
but
you're undefeated against Tom Brady.
I'm kind of want to know. Okay.
Yeah. No, you could say that.
Drew Bledsoe may have been playing quarterback.
Listen, them's the facts. Swing pass, Ashton Hawkins tripped up, stays with it, but he's into Air Force territory. Another big play for the Baylor offense here in the second half.
Well, this is what Jake Spavital told us. You know, between Baldwin and Hawkins, he said that those guys are just flat-out burners. Are the kind of guys you want to get the ball in their hands, but got to be careful again.
Yeah.
Kind of getting loose with that ball.
Hawkins was such a great player at Texas State. 22 yards here. Robertson taking a shot to the end zone, incomplete.
Oh, I think he should have had this one. I'm sure we'll get a close-up look at this one. I think this ball, it could not have been placed any better. And the defender does a great job on this one, not knocking him, not getting the interference, just kind of being in position. But you know, those balls can be tough to track, but no excuses on that one. Definitely should have had it.
Kyle Chen in coverage on Ashton Hawkins, and what could have been another score. Handoff, Washington, and he dives ahead for a gain of 6.
Well, I love the subtle movement that you see from Bryson Washington. You can see, even on a little carry like that, just natural movement, not a lot of wasted movement. Picks up a lot of ground on his lateral cuts.
Falcons showing blitz. Another shot towards the end zone, overthrown, incomplete. Flag is down.
I think that's at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
That was just a free play. Looked like somebody jumped offside.
Offside, number 58, defense in the neutral zone at the snap. A 5-yard penalty results the first down.
So it's Jackson Adams, junior from Centennial, Colorado. And it's a freebie, first down for the Bears. Third penalty of the night for Air Force. Robertson dumps it off short. Michael Trigg bounces off an initial tackle. Skips by a second, and you're right. I mean, it's right in that same kind of area. Ball's a little bit exposed, but he sets up a second and short.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing. You know, guys get so excited. You know, they want to make a play, and you know, you get those defenders around you. You always got to get 2 hands on it in traffic. Nice job there, covering it up, finishing the play.
Here's Reese wrapped up at the point of attack. Well covered by Air Force defensively. And it'll be 3rd down here. Daniel Grobe, junior defensive end, Texas native. This is a big moment for the Air Force defense here, trying to contain the deficit here. Get a stop. Robertson, incomplete. Yeah, that was going to be intended for Cameron. He got tangled up, and it's going to be defensive pass interference or something along those lines. Jamari Bellamy got tangled with him, it appeared.
Are they going to have a little conference? Well, they are going to call it. Thought they might pick that thing up, though, just because you had players moving in opposite directions. Maybe they will pick it up and just say.
Pass interference, number 22, defense, spot foul, automatic, first down.
That was Jerome Gaylord. Let's see here.
Whoa.
There's that.
Physical off the line of scrimmage. He tugged that shoulder, and a good acting job by Josh Cameron right there, just kind of going to the ground. I don't even know if that ball was catchable.
Robertson, keeper to the end zone. Touchdown, Baylor. Sawyer Robertson showing off the legs, showing off the dance moves, and the Bears extend the lead.
A little bit of insult to injury. They're going to do it with a little bit of zone read action. And remember, you've got number 48, Luke Fisher, in for Grant Ewell at the linebacker spot because Grant is injured. A nice job on the read there by Sawyer Robertson. Gets the pull and the touchdown. Nice celebration on the sideline.
Practicing those moves. It's not just something you do spontaneously. Second career rushing touchdown for Robertson. And the Bears have extended the lead. And we're enjoying some throwbacks because there's a personal connection here. Robert Smith, of course, star running back at Ohio State.
Did I take care of the block? I got thrown to the ground, but I kept him off of the quarterback.
Air Force kind of handled you a little bit.
Look at those shoulder pads. It's amazing.
1990 Liberty Bowl. You did have a touchdown.
Yeah, and they didn't show that, I see.
23-11 final score.
You know what's funny? You have guys that hold out of bowl games now, and if we had beaten Michigan at the end of the year, we lost no time left field goal, we would have gone to the Rose Bowl. We lost, went to Liberty Bowl, and the seniors are talking about not going. I'm like, guys do that? You don't go to bowl games?
My producer Brad Weimer said any excuse he has to show Ohio State losing, he's going to show it.
It's embarrassing at this point, right? And he didn't even show the touchdown.
Nope.
Jeez.
Nope. It is lost to history.
That was a century ago. Come on. Or at least last century, maybe not a century ago.
Well, tell you what, this Air Force offense might be lost to history, at least here tonight, if they don't get something turned around. 170 yards, all of it on the ground. They still do not have a completed pass play here tonight. Boucher, option pitch, Calvert's. And he'll pick up 6 or 7 here.
Boy, it just puts so much pressure on your safeties, and you got to wait for it, right? You got to wait for that pitch. You got to keep that relationship with that person that's going to be catching that pitch. And as Devin Bobby ends up making that tackle, it just takes it the entire game. You just have to be so disciplined because we've seen so many times all of a sudden they bust out a counter and they're 50 yards downfield.
And often this will get him a 3rd down and 1. As Owen Allen gets the call. Tell you what, Air Force, we've talked about it, brand new offense. They have not done a good job finishing off drives. Even last week, 7 points, the fewest scored by an Air Force team in any game since 2020, a 10-7 loss to Army in the shortened season. 3rd down and 1 here. 3 and out last time for Air Force. And this should get them the 1st down. Boucher on the quarterback keeper.
Yeah, and, Troy Calhoun was very open with us about, kind of what this might look like for a while. I mean, these are a lot of new players, not just new players. I mean, some guys that really just haven't played much football, period.
A lot of practice time, not a lot of playing.
Yeah, and so many of these other schools in the portal area or era and the NIL era, none of that stuff happens at the service academies, and you combine that with the turnover that they had specifically this year, it's going to be some growing pains.
Boucher again. A nice ankle tackle to cut down the run after a gain of 3. You think about how recruiting works at the Air Force Academy. A minimum 3.5 GPA, minimum 1240 SAT. Calculus in high school is a must for curriculum. You have to be willing to serve after your playing time. And what's interesting too, Air Force especially recruits guys who don't necessarily have a military background in their families. A lot of first-timers in terms of family service. This play is blown up in the backfield. Brooks Miller. First time we've called his name here tonight. And a tackle for loss sets up a long third down.
Defensive coaches say it all the time, believe what you see. I've seen this action. I'm seeing him set up. That means he's not going to be moving. That means it's not option. That means I got to pull the trigger. Get upfield. See him making the play right there. Beautiful job believing what you see.
Calling this a fumble.
He had a fumble earlier in the game.
Oh yeah, he lost this ball in the end.
He lost it on the way to the. He lost it. Looked like he got it on the way to the ground.
They're ruling this Baylor possession.
Well, I'm going to take another look at this.
Yeah.
It looked like Boucher might have regained control when he was already on the ground. I'm just saying that he didn't have firm control. Get another look at it here. The ball definitely comes loose, but it looks like he may have regained control with the knee on the ground right there. Ball should be down. And I think Mountain West officials going to take another look at this one, and I think it's going to be Air Force ball.
Hey, first time we've had a chance to say hello to Mike Pereira here tonight.
All right.
Mike, how are you doing?
Hi, you guys. I'm used to having you in here with me, but you're on site now, which is great. You know, this is an interesting play because he loses control of the ball, but then he gets it back. So he gets it back. So now he doesn't have to survive the ground. If he's down at that point. So even at that, if the ball gets ripped out, it's really after the ball play is over. So that's one thing they have to look at. Did he get control before he got to the ground? And if he did, then it's not considered, in my opinion, a fumble. So they'll look at that aspect of it. And then the second aspect, was he down? And then was the ball pulled out after that? But to me, I don't see this as a change of possession.
Well, great to see you as always, my man, Mike. And, so if he regains control, it looks like the knee is down when he regains control. There's no element of time discussion. I know that he doesn't have to control it to the ground. As soon as he regains control, firm control, that's it. Play over?
Yeah, you don't look at this like a catch where you have to have the three-step process.
Review, the ruling on the field of a fumble recovered by the defense stands. First down.
Wow. I mean, this could be where they didn't have an angle that showed that he established control of the ball again. Shocking right there.
Could be, but then again, I hope they looked at that aspect, which is relatively new, by the way, that you don't have to survive the ground in those situations. But maybe they felt since they couldn't see the ball after that they didn't have the best of look and had to stay with it. But to me, I would have actually put that down and with possession retained by Air Force.
Okay. Well, we thank you, Mike, for that. And maybe the whole key to that is that the ruling on the field was a fumble recovered by Baylor on the sweep action. I'm not going to get much of anything off this. Jamal Bell, who's had just one touch this season prior to that, no gain on the play, and it's second down. Like Baylor with a chance really to put this game to bed if they so choose.
Trying to get the edges right there, and they've been so good just getting downhill, especially in this second half. We've seen runs up the middle, some tremendous runs by Bryson Washington, and driving the ball downfield with passes.
Robertson to pass to the outside, caught at the sticks by Cameron.
Boy, good placement on this ball, but you're going to see Josh Cameron lose his footing. He's going to catch this thing as he's going to the ground. Nice job with the concentration, but that can't happen if it's not an accurate football. Nice throw again.
Half yard shy of the first down, but they'll get it here with Pendergrass. Wow, just a turn of events that Baylor has taken full advantage of. It's been a sloppy game from both sides in terms of ball control. Now Air Force has turned it over twice. And Baylor outgaining Air Force by a wide margin this quarter. Into the flat, Baldwin. Baldwin, some shifty moves, tiptoeing the sideline. We'll see where they mark him out. It's going to be a first down for Baylor at the 10-yard line.
And remember, Jake Spavital, we talked about it. We've seen Hawkins quite a bit tonight, but we see Baldwin lined up in the slot, just little smoke route, just instant alert, hit it to him, off coverage in the slot. A guy like that, just turn on the jets, get some production.
First down and goal. Pendergrass navigating the traffic down to the 2-yard line. Second and goal.
Boy, really just imposing their will. And we talked about all of the new faces for Air Force, and they really just don't have the depth. So it's really tough for them to get rotations and keep same level of player in there.
We haven't seen Peyton Zadroik.
I think he just go in?
Or haven't called his name, at least. Their top defensive player, 4 TFLs, 2
he's lined
sacks.
up over the right tackle now.
To the end zone, incomplete. A lot of hand fighting there. Houston Hendricks in coverage on Cameron.
Right, and you mentioned Zadroik, 5 straight games with a tackle for loss. And you know, one of the things that really stood out with him is just how quickly he gets off the ball. But on that last play, and I'm sure many times tonight, you get 4 hands on a guy like that. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but a quick first step. You don't want him to get upfield.
This play is stopped. And Air Force's defense, after the turnover, have put Baylor in an interesting spot. 4th down and goal here for the Bears. No sign yet of the field goal unit.
Yeah, I get Sawyer Robertson on the edge here, giving up the opportunity to run or throw the football with his legs. So dangerous. The defense has to honor it.
Can Baylor punch it in? Will Air Force come up with an important stop? And a flag comes in here.
False start.
Prior to the snap, ball start, number 58, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
And now they will bring on the field goal unit.
You see Gavin Byers lined up at that right guard spot, just a little twitch in there.
5th-year senior.
Boy, costly penalty right there, and now you go for the field goal.
Isaiah Hankins from 25 to make it a 20-point game. And he drills it. So with a little under 2 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter, the Bears in firm control in Waco. It's been 7 years since Air Force has lost to a power conference team. 5 straight victories. This was their last loss. Came to the big house. Jim Harbaugh coaching Michigan, then 7th ranked in the nation to a 29-13 victory. Air Force only trailed 9-6 at the half. The Wolverines exploded in the 2nd. And Michigan came away with the win.
Yeah, that was before Connor Stallions really had his craft. Worked in the full effect. No, I was happy to see Jim Harbaugh
Yeah.
really get that thing going, man. One of my favorite lines ever when he was at Stanford said, "We're going to win with character and cruelty."
Well, certainly made an impression and has, I think.
We've got a new QB.
Yeah, we're going to have a new quarterback here, it appears. I was going to say.
Quentin Hayes.
Well, sophomore from Enterprise, Alabama, will come into the game, spelling John Boucher. He's a dual threat guy. He was recruited by the other service academies, Army and Navy. Gets an opportunity here with Air Force down by 20, and John Boucher, let's be clear, I mean, no struggle here. This ball may have come loose at the end. Still, Air Force, as we know, this is part of the story for them. They're going to have to play their way through it.
Enterprise, Alabama. It's funny you say he's a dual threat quarterback. Yeah, you better be. You're going to play. You're going to play for Air Force, but yeah, we know it's going to be growing pains. But in a situation like this, down by 20, you might as well try and get a look at the young man.
Now stumbled here and then gets thrown down. He says hello to Matt Jones.
I thought I was going to have to call the rest of this game by myself. You saw a grasshopper and just almost threw your headset off.
It's a gigantic black thing that does not look like a normal grasshopper. Insects are large in this state, and we have the windows open to our booth. I'm a city slicker from Brooklyn. What do you expect?
You're terrified of Jiminy Cricket walking around in the booth.
All I know is in New York City, we are told to smash any lantern fly we see on the street. So I'm going to try to do that with any insects that come in this booth. Final minute of the quarter. Quick pass is caught. That's the first completion of the night for the Air Force offense.
It looks like Michael McCanich is down with an injury.
Yeah. And they're going to stop the clock here with 25 seconds left in the quarter. Michael McCanich from Toledo, Ohio. Bruin Fleischman on the reception. One of their few upperclassmen. And Michael McCanich. And take a look at his ankle here.
You know, and we talked to Troy Calhoun about the service academies and, you know, making that decision to, you know, have the triple option. It's those guys up front really that are the difference, right? And people say, well, you can't get the skill players. You can get some skill players. It's just big guys are hard to find, right? Especially when you're a service academy, and particularly when you look at, you know, the tackle spot. It's not like they're small guys compared to us mere mortals, but you know, you're talking about 6'3", 270 at left tackle and a right tackle. You know, you got a 6'3", 275, and those guys just can't hold up in pass pro against guys with length and speed that you get off of the edges, and you can't consistently run a lot of regular offenses with those kind of guys having to block much bigger and faster defensive linemen.
And in the portal era, it's actually compounded because you've got 5th and 6th year guys that you're playing. Your opposition will have an extra year of development. I mean, these are older players, older than we've ever seen before in college football. And this Baylor team, Troy Calhoun was saying, I mean, this is one of the biggest teams that the coaching staff at Air Force has seen in years. 4th and 1 here. And again, the new quarterback, Quentin Hayes, the sophomore, under center, with Bradley in the backfield. Hayes unable to get away. And the Falcons turn it over on downs.
Matt Jones, we've been calling his name all night long, and what did Dave Aranda say about him? Consistent, seasoned vet, smart. And he triggers immediately on this play, gets into the backfield, and stops Hayes before he has any chance to get moving. Look at him fight his way through there. Got by the block of Tyler Lawrence. Physical, and he's feeling it. They're loving it, man. Defense has been playing their tails off tonight.
Matt Jones had a team-high 82 tackles last season. He's well on his way to leading the team once again, leading the Bears here tonight. Air Force with only 12 rushing yards this quarter, as the Falcons turn it over on downs. And this is quickly turning into a rout here in Waco as we hit the end of 3. Baylor feeling pretty good about their offense after a slow start and a big lead at home. FS1 College Football is sponsored by Hampton by Hilton for the stay. Alex Faust, Robert Smith here with you in Waco. First time that Baylor's wearing those all black uniforms. First time they've done that since 2018. And the Bears, after Air Force turned it over on downs, looking to put this one to bed early in the 4th quarter. Richard Reese gets by a couple of tackles to the pylon and in. First touchdown of the season for Richard Reese, 28 yards on the scamper and score.
We saw the touchdown earlier from Bryson Washington, and now Richard Reese says, all right, man, I got to do something a little bit different. You could see him evading the tacklers early in this one, but then just turning on the Jets, getting up the sideline and in for 6. Little flex in the end zone.
Looks like they're going to go for 2 here. Robertson has Bryson Washington with him in the backfield. And Robertson's going to take it himself. (31-3), an explosion in the second half from Baylor.
Yeah, they've gotten it done up front. And the running backs, you can see once again, making people miss, and there's a lot of ways to make people miss. You can make them miss laterally, you can run them over and make them miss, and you can just flat out outrun guys. You get a guy like Richard Reese, not the biggest guy in the world, 5'9", 181 pounds, but he knows how to use that speed, and he knows the angles that defenders take. It's a nice job getting in the end zone, and great night for Sawyer Robertson.
Yep.
First start this season.
Tell you what,
and out.
You know what? In a spot capacity too. 18 of 24 for 248 yards, with nary a mistake really.
And none made, well, by him.
Sure.
Right? By the offense, certainly. Some guys have put the ball on the ground, we know, in the first half.
Yeah.
3 fumbles, and you see Dave Aranda all fired up, and we said it. So it's quiet guys you got to watch, right?
Yeah.
A guy that's normally quiet, and he's getting all fired up. People tend to respond, snap to attention.
Tell you what, it was an intense quarterback competition. Daquan Finn, brought in from Toledo, beat out Sawyer Robinson for the starting quarterback job. But even before the injury to Finn, Aranda had been lamenting the lack of quality play from their quarterback. Haven't been able to show off the team's skill players as much as they would like, and boy, they're doing that here tonight.
Yeah, they certainly are, and you know, it was really trying to figure out which pitch to use. I think a lot of times with Daquan Finn, and just throwing the ball with more speed than he needed to, or more loft than he should have, and some of the decision making. I think, you know, you're not trying to beat up on the guy, but they thought that they wanted better decisions on whether to run or pass, and they wanted better execution.
And the Baylor Bears, after being limited to just 223 yards of offense, have 389 here tonight against an Air Force defense that looks a little bit overmatched here in Waco. 2nd down and 8 here for the Falcons, and again they are trying to get their second stringers some time here with Quentin Hayes at quarterback. At least they'll get a positive play out of this. bringing up 3rd down.
Tyler Latham on the carry right there, and Air Force doesn't do anything fancy. Say, you may know what we're doing, but if we execute it better, we think we're still going to be able to get some yardage out of it, and it's 3rd down. Obviously, no guarantee that even if they get 0 yards on this one, that they won't be going again on 4th down.
6 for 16 here tonight. And it will set up a 4th down they'll try to convert. Air Force was just 3 for 16 on 3rd down last week. That was the 2nd worst performance for an Air Force offense in the last 6 years.
Well, looks like they are going to punt.
And they are going to punt, yeah. Well, the Falcons, tell you what, it looks like this run is going to come to a close in terms of wins over power conference teams, but just broadly speaking in their non-conference play, 14-2 in their last 16 non-conference games. We haven't seen the Baylor side of things in the punting game, but we've seen plenty of Luke Freer here tonight.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Yeah. All the way back to the 18-yard line. Here's Cameron. Oh, that's a big hit. Out across the 35-yard line, but he gets up just fine. 49-yard punt and a 17-yard return. Oh, much better in the second half for Baylor. 3 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, nice job along the offensive line, but really these young running backs have emerged in this game. We saw a little bit QB run of Sawyer Robertson as well, but Bryson Washington and then Richard Reese right here finding pay dirt. Run game been all types of effective in the second half.
Now 141 yards on the ground for the Baylor Bears here tonight. Washington with the carry here as he picks up 6.
Boy, and great finish on the runs too. And we talked about that competition aspect, and you have a full running back room. You really motivate each other, and guys see somebody else do something big, and they're like, all right, it's about time for me to go make a play too. And you see Bryson Washington on that last one get that hand down drill, get a few extra yards as you're stumbling forward. Love to see it.
Again, it's Washington who spins away from a tackle across midfield. And we're starting to see why they are so high on this kid.
Yeah, love the spin move here. Getting into contact, making guys miss. Again, so many ways to do it. It seems like the Baylor Bear running backs have found all kind of ways to make the Falcons miss on defense. Taking their time here, as they should.
Yep.
Grind some clock.
Look at that. 146 rushing yards in the second half.
Jake Spavital, the offensive coordinator, said, we still haven't figured out our identity. And, he was really brought in as an offensive coordinator. You want some of that air raid, some of those air raid elements, because you want to be able to recruit kids from Texas. And talk about Texas high school football. So many of those programs down here run more wide open systems. But here in the second half, not getting cute, right? Just try and pound.
Yep. Washington now up over 100 yards. I think one problem that emerged, and Dave Aranda, I have a note here just going back to last year, was talking about it. Perhaps too many guys on the offense were getting touches, and they were trying to be a bit too liberal, spreading the ball around to different guys, which may have helped confidence for individual players at the time, especially in a season where they went 3-9, 2-7 in conference play. But it may have also led to inconsistency and lack of rhythm for this offense.
Yeah, it's so interesting now, though. I mean, all the things that you have to think of in the era of the portal and NIL. If guys aren't playing, are they going to want to leave? Right. Dave Aranda will have to share this story about the marker in the water bottle.
Robertson drifting back, connects with Gavin Yates. 2 flags come in here at the end of the play. Again for Baylor, trying to snap a 9-game home losing streak to FBS opponents.
Well, I think those efforts are going to be fruitful here tonight.
Yep.
Get the call here.
Holding, number 6, offense, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
It's Ashton Hawkins.
And Hawkins lined up here in the slot. You like your fellow offensive players to block when they can. I don't know about that. He just kind of threw him down. It's physical. That was much of a hold. I don't like that as a hold.
Hawkins has had a pretty nice night, 81 yards receiving. 4 receptions on 5 targets. Handed off, Reese. And he slips by a tackle. Actually, beg your pardon, Dominic Richardson, who is the top returning running back for Baylor. Penalty marker down. Second season at Baylor for Richardson, senior from Oklahoma City.
There is no foul in the play. It's second down.
Former Oklahoma State Cowboy.
Yeah, nice little jump cut there. And, the thing I was talking about with the marker and the bottle, what you don't know in the NIL area. He said, look, this marker may tell me that this bottle over here offered him this much, and this bottle over here offered him that much. And I don't know if the marker is telling the truth. And, you just don't know. And, it's just really interesting as we're trying to figure out, these coaches' staffs are trying to figure out how to handle all of these players and contracts and all this stuff.
I do think there is something to be said for there will be a market reset at some point where the value of coaching and development and the long-term goal of are we going to get guys to the NFL or not? That'll still attract people to your program. We were just at Illinois, right? And they're fighting the same thing of being kind of a below the top tier in the Big Ten. And I mean, let's face it, Baylor's kind of in that same category, perhaps a little bit more wide open given the current landscape of the Big 12.
Well, here's the thing. The NFL is not expanding anytime soon. So, there are a limited number of spots, and that's the thing I worry about is that the players don't concentrate, get their degrees, or work towards some sort of career. And I think in talking to Dave Aranda, you could just kind of tell he's just different in so many ways, and I think that he enjoys the personal aspects of development more than most coaches probably. And the saying is a good coach makes you a better player and a great coach makes you a better person, and that that's what he wants to do. But you know what? He can also adapt, and he said, I came into the year or the last couple of years thinking this is what I want it to be, but now I got to figure out what it is.
Another field goal try, another long one, and another good one. Actually, no good from 44. Hankins misfires. Well, these two teams did make history a couple of years ago. They won't make it here tonight. 2022 Armed Forces Bowl, December 22nd of that year. 13 degrees at kickoff, and Air Force was very much in their element. Dave Aranda said, I tried to open my mouth and couldn't talk. Maybe that was just about the result of the game. 95 at kickoff tonight. What is it right now? 88, according to my weather app. It's warm for this time of night. I know you're used to it.
Nice
the
throw
outside,
there.
yeah, really nice throw. New quarterback in making that throw. And it's the third stringer, Josh Johnson, for Air Force, sophomore out of New Orleans, Louisiana. First career appearance. And Johnson, like many of the second and third stringers, getting some action here tonight for the Falcons. And we talked about, program building. This is valuable experience to get into a game.
Yeah, and Josh from New Orleans, he's used to this heat and humidity.
Late pitch on the option play. Big physical hit delivered to Tyler Latham, beg your pardon.
Yeah, this is going to be a nice stick. And TJ Coleman come in. Wow. Hello.
Keep playing.
Oh, you love to see that, though.
Because those second and third stringers are going to get time for Baylor, too. Timeout for an injured player, another Air Force Falcon. They have been beaten and battered here tonight. We saw earlier, and one of their top defenders in Kyle Chen went to the tent. They're going to have one of their offensive players get looked at here. Going to see Cade Palmer get up after this. Keep an eye on 23 in your picture here.
It looks like he takes a shot. It gets a helmet like right into his shoulder, and sometimes that can cause a stinger. You know, when linebackers, you see them go up and they make that kind of hit, and that arm's like a strike of lightning going up your arm.
Again, Josh Johnson into quarterback, gets away, points downfield, gonna take a shot, nobody there.
Yeah,
and it's
there's
gonna be intercepted there. Yeah, there was somebody there, but he was wearing black. It's Corey Gordon Jr., and he's still on his feet. Finally knocked down at midfield. Nathan Elwood finally brought him down, one of the offensive linemen. 39-yard return.
Yeah, Josh Johnson, you know, obviously just getting some time in the game. You can see him roll out here, and he's just going to take a shot. You know, doesn't get his feet set, doesn't get anything on that ball. Two defenders back there anyway. Poor decision to make that throw, but he knows he's not going to get a lot of opportunities to be out there on the field, and he said it's a pass play. I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice here. Thought it might end up like a punt with them having bad field position, but got a good return on it.
Sawyer Robertson remains in at quarterback for Baylor. Be curious to see when they try to go to their third stringer, Nate Bennett. Gain of 6 here for Richardson on first down. So Baylor will get to 2-1 here, looking for their first winning season since winning the Big 12 in 2021. A school record 12 wins, a magical season. Won the Sugar Bowl, Big 12 championship, finished number 5 in the nation. But since the start of 2022, just 10-17, including that loss to Air Force in the last postseason. Dave Aranda, we talked about it. He's got a little bit of a different, more cerebral approach, trying a long-term view for how to build this program. He signed here through 2029, and I was starting to think, Robert, you know, it's unfair of us, but we're in that business of will they be patient here at Baylor? You know, they want this program, this gleaming stadium and a brand new facility that you had a chance to tour yesterday. They want this program to be on the map in the Big 12, and sometimes you got to be a little patient.
Yeah, you're going to be a little impatient, and you know, with TCU just up the road, just up 35W, and you know, SMU. You know, they're in the ACC, but, you know, there's just so much money in Dallas. But the thing about Baylor is, you know, it's people from Dallas, from San Antonio, from Houston. They're not necessarily here in town, but you just wonder if they can still kind of get that interest and, more importantly, the dollars to make it happen.
And when they're winning, I mean, it is a big, big to-do. They love this program. We saw a great crowd here tonight. And again, considering where Baylor's been the last few years, to draw the number that they did here tonight in a non-conference game that may not have had the most sex appeal on paper. With 4.5 to go, they're in control, up 31-3. Look at their upcoming schedule. Colorado next. Again, that game will be in prime time next Saturday on Fox. And then BYU. Oh, we got a cat.
Got cat-like moves, cat-like speed. He's got cat-like reflexes. Good job catching him, or good luck catching him. I mean, it's like Rocky chasing a chicken. Come on, Rock.
I think we've officially gone off the rails here.
You didn't add anything to that. Come on, man.
I didn't add anything to that. I didn't know where you were going. I just want to get out of the way. When you're carrying the rock and I'm on the other side of that, I'm getting out of the way. Dominic Richardson here once again for a first down. I'm not going to go all Kevin Harlan and just start, you know, calling the cat moving down the field. One day maybe.
Or just having some awkward fight like happened last week. Whatever.
Yeah.
Was. Yeah, it's been quite the night. We've got big black insects in the booth.
Dude, that was not okay. I'm still shook from that.
Obviously.
31-3. I can laugh about it now. It'll be in my nightmares later. Richardson. And he'll fight for a couple extra yards here. Inside of 3 minutes to play. Last year, Baylor was last in the Big 12 in sacks allowed, tackles for loss allowed, third down conversions, pass efficiency. And I'm just looking down here tonight. Realistically, Air Force didn't get a lot of pressure to the quarterback. Robertson had plenty of time here tonight. 4 for 9 on third down. And even though they lost that time of possession battle early, 461 yards of offense is no joke.
No, it certainly isn't. And, you know, this is what you want to see out of your quarterback. And, of course, in for the injured Finn. It's an impressive performance.
Well, now it poses a question here, as this will be third down coming up. Do they go back to Robertson?
I don't think it's a question.
Okay. I mean, especially if his arm's in a sling.
Go back to Finn, you mean? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess you could look at it both ways. Do they go back, or do they continue with Robertson? Yeah. I say absolutely. I mean, they were pretty clear that they wanted to change, and they've seen that change out of quarterback, and it's made quite the difference tonight. Baylor, and if he's got dance moves like that, you can't get that guy out of there. 31-3, Baylor.
31-3. Baylor looking to close this out. Bryson Washington, tonight's hardest working player, sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Career high 12 rushes, career high 106 yards, and his first career collegiate touchdown. Now third down and 5 with 2 minutes to go, and Baylor just looking to close the book on this one. Again, Dominic Richardson, he's basically the third string here tonight.
It's going to be fourth down here. You have an opportunity. Some interested viewers maybe trying to make up for earlier losses that might be interested in the final score of this one.
I don't know what you're talking. Fourth down and 1.
It's NIL era. It's the portal era, and it's the gambling era. It's true. Like it's not hidden anymore.
In many states. Not all yet.
It'd be like Brent Musburger and talk about it anyway.
For some of you, that might be a very interesting result. This is going to be a first down.
Man.
Where Richardson, again, he's the top returning back for Baylor, and yet he's basically the third, fourth stringer here tonight.
I mean, that's what happens at running back, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of see what's happened with the value of running backs in the league. I would say, having played the position, I think it's the easiest position to make the transition from high school and the easiest from college to the pros. And there are a lot of guys that can do what running backs do, so you better get your stuff right. You see your fellow backmates making some plays, you better go out there and do it yourself.
Woo. Well, still playing, and they're still throwing flags.
Yep.
A lot of laundry on the field.
The laundry has not stopped. We got 2 flags there. No cats on this play. Yeah.
Personal foul, illegal blindside block, number 88, offense. It's a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
It's the second time we've seen this tonight. It was Air Force that got in trouble for that earlier.
Right.
The blindside block.
Micah Gifford here.
You know, defensive players talk too much. I mean, you know, they complain.
Yeah, says the running back.
They complain all the time about targeting and all that. You can't even hit them when they're not looking.
25 seconds. And Baylor will run this play. I don't think they'll run one more. Ball came out late and recovered by the Bears, and that will do it for this one. The Baylor Bears looking for their first winning season since 2021. They snap a 9-game home losing streak to FBS opposition.